And I did. So I remember I got this. Well, I got something dirty, but then I got this body lotion.
Now I want to know what the dirty.
I still have it, but it was like vanilla tasting, supposedly.
Oh yes,
but like I didn't.
No, we once got a strawberry tasting something, and
yeah, and I was like, you know what? I don't like lotion to begin with.
No.
I don't want people licking lotion. I don't like licking. I don't like lotion.
And then things get sticky. I don't want a sticky.
Exactly.
No sticky.
Oh my
no.
God. And then I got these little things.
I don't like eating in my bed. Hi, this is Caitlin.
And this is Sharon.
And welcome to Real Housewives on Real Housewives, where we unravel housewives' story threads and keep the tea flowing.
So chic.
Hold on to your peaches.
This week, we're digging into Kandi Burress from Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 15.
All right, the verses this week are Kandi versus Courtney, Kandi versus Marlo, and Kandi versus Drew.
And Caitlin has been working on her Courtney accent.
I have, but I'm not ready to debut it yet
share.
because it's just, I don't know how you get Valley Girl into breathy sex kitten voice.
I don't know.
It's really hard. So it's actually hard to be that annoying, interestingly. All right. The background on Kandi is that she is known for the 90s vocal group Xscape with an X. And okay, she's a songwriter and has credits on No Scrubs.
Which blows my mind.
I know.
I'm like, oh
like
my
we grew
God.
up with this song.
I can't believe I didn't know that. That's amazing.
I don't want no. And Bills, Bills, Bills by Destiny Child. And then, so she's got 3 kids. She's married to Todd Tucker. She's kind of a workaholic, especially this season. We'll see it. And she wants an EGOT, which I could see her getting.
I think she wrote No Scrubs. She deserves it. Yeah,
I think absolutely.
Not just a Grammy.
Exactly.
She deserves all of them.
All of them. It's for one song.
Yes.
It's that good. But it is. It is that good.
Yeah.
All right. Do we think, this is just sort of a side note question, do we think Kandi was too busy and MIA this season?
I kind of do. I felt like she was a little over it.
Yeah.
But then I understood at the reunion when she's like, well, I bit off more than you or whatever. But
at first, I think I felt defensive for her. And I was like, no, she wasn't. She was fine. Like, she just, because she kind of said, well, I still want to be on the show. I just, like you said, she said, I bit off more than I can chew. But at the same time, she kind of had said, like, both of her kids complained she was working too much.
Oh, yeah.
Todd was complaining she was working too much. And then when I kind of saw, and then the other women at the reunion were like, you weren't there for us. You weren't. So it's sort of like, it is sort of hard to, I mean, maybe everyone was just jumping on that train, but if that many people are saying it, then maybe you are working a little, you're gone a little too much.
But I also don't like it that they're saying it like instead of a
exactly.
Well, you take it's because she's a woman that they're like
absolutely. They wouldn't say it to Todd.
You're not coming. You're not doing this.
Exactly.
It's not like you're working so hard. You know.
Yes, and that's why I think I feel defensive about it. I'm like, no, she wasn't. Don't ever ask a woman that.
I know exactly.
Leave Kandi alone.
I mean, but I think she just didn't feel very present 100%.
I think maybe that's the word. It's just like she had too many like what do they say pots in the fire.
Huh?
I'm not good with phrases.
I don't know.
That they,
we
like,
know
there's
that.
something about a glass house. Things on a burner. Pots on the stove.
I think flames in the fire. No.
I don't know.
Okay.
We're not going to do this. Okay. All right. Let's start with versus Courtney.
Oh my God. Courtney. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I know. We are going to give her own episode because she's that annoying.
She's that annoying. I just don't even know
it's going to take a whole episode to like get through the therapy.
Is she a real person?
I don't think so. I am pretty sure that she's something the writers made up.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think anyone could be that.
I don't know.
She's like a play persona, like someone on stage with a bad accent that doesn't match whatever they're doing.
Uh-huh.
No.
And the way whenever she comes in and sees people, I'm doing
that
a little like,
hey,
she likes
dancing.
Like,
no. All right, so there's a lot of problems with Courtney.
We have a lot of issues with Courtney.
We did. But the big one with Kandi is that she comes in at Sonya's 40th birthday party for Ross, and Kandi's sort of asking around because she's heard that Courtney was telling everyone that they were friends. Now, this feels like an argument I think I had in like the 3rd grade.
I know.
Like, well, she said she was friends with her, but you know what? They're not friends. And at first I was kind of like, okay, like this is going to get over really fast.
Yeah.
But it didn't. And so it's like Kandi's like, well, I don't know Courtney. And Courtney's like, well, maybe we were traveling in the same circles. I love that one. And then Kandi's like, well, why do you have this crazy energy about it? Which she did.
She did. She was a little weird about it.
Yes. She was a lot.
Okay. A lot.
But so it doesn't make sense. They get into this like huge fight about whether or not they knew each other in advance or didn't know each other.
And were friends
and
or
whether
were
someone
not
was
friends.
claiming that they knew each other.
Were
they
bizarre.
friends? No. I mean, the answer is no. They weren't
It's the
friends.
no, and like, who cares?
Yeah.
I don't.
But Kandi gets so mad.
She does. And they almost got in like a fight.
I mean, like a big fight.
It was
Like, doesn't she
ridiculous.
say like, I want to headbutt her?
Something.
Yeah. Anyway, and like Courtney gets all up in her face. It's like the oddest. Like, we've never met Courtney before. Kandi, according to what she says, has never met Courtney before. And yet they're like this upset at each other.
Can you imagine someone coming up to you and they're like, this girl said she was your friend, and then you're like,
where's she? I'm gonna go headbutt her.
I'm gonna go headbutt her. Like, what?
That's how goats fight.
I guess I'd be flattered if someone like really wanted to be my friend,
I
and that was
know.
like a thing that they.
I mean, I guess Kandi
were
thought it was
proud
like,
of.
yeah, like she was tying her name to her fame. I
Oh,
guess,
okay.
and I guess maybe I could see
Yeah,
that
I guess we
annoying
don't
me.
have
Like,
that problem.
yeah, and especially like maybe if Courtney was acting like annoying, then that would come back to you.
Actually, I could see that because Courtney is so annoying. Probably 2 seconds after Kandi met her, she's like, no.
Also, like how
Don't
she was
associate with me.
Sheree's friend. Sheree brought her around.
I
I don't think so. I think
something's
she knew
whack
nobody,
here.
and they just were like pretend like she's your friend. Sure.
Mhm.
All right, so who wins that fight?
Obviously,
Kandi. Yeah. Well, and Kandi also didn't like that Courtney kept saying like she didn't like ghetto thing.
Yeah, because she said, because she was there. She said the crowd that came out, ghetto. And
Yeah.
then
She was very judgy of her friend that she said she was.
yes, exactly.
We're friends, but also I don't like the things that she does.
Yeah.
Like, all right, let's get into the next one. I just feel like all of these are fairly petty fights that we're
They
kind of heading
are.
into here. So just bear with us.
This one is like a serious matter, but it
Yeah.
also makes no sense.
Exactly. I guess that's the thing. It's such a serious, like,
I guess what we should say, we're talking
Yeah,
about
okay.
the shooting thing with Marlo.
versus Marlo. Okay, so Marlo's triggered by this shooting that happens in Kandi's restaurant Blaze. But she's triggered about a past event that happened with her own nephew. Now, the nephew was not an employee at the time. Of
It
Kandi's-
was a
he
previous
was a
employee
previous employee. His name was Quentin.
of Kandi.
He used to work at Old Lady Gang, but he was not at the time of the shooting. And Marlo alleges that it was with somebody he met at Kandi's restaurant. But then Kandi clears that up later because I thought they meant like another coworker.
Mhm.
But that's not what they meant. They meant just like someone, I don't know, he met out front. He met as some patron who was eating inside. It's not really very clear.
Yeah, but this guy murders him.
Right. But this guy kills him. And that part, absolutely, like I understand
Yeah.
why she would be triggered. I do understand why she'd be triggered by the idea of a shooting coming up in that relates to a
Yeah.
restaurant because I get why she's triggered.
Mhm.
The thing is, I don't get why she blames Kandi.
Mhm.
So what happens is she says that Kandi never really cared enough to like send flowers or ask the family if they needed any help or
Mhm.
acknowledge that her nephew was killed.
Because she's making it sound like
Yeah.
Kandi knew him more.
Right.
And I don't know if she misunderstood maybe or
Yes.
I don't know. Because she said like, it was sad when she said, like this picture at his funeral was him in a chef
Yes.
jacket.
Mhm.
And that did make me feel sad.
too.
So I think she knew how much he had enjoyed working there.
Yes.
But
I'm not sure
wasn't-
Kandi got that same
right. And
understanding.
Kandi does a million things. And
Right.
it didn't happen while he worked there.
Todd's the one in the restaurants more on a
Yeah.
day-to-day, not her. And it's like just because they had a group picture or even pictures together
Yeah.
doesn't mean that she knew him
right.
personally. But either way, what I think is interesting is like they show the footage back and they show like previous seasons back when it happened and Marlo comes and talks to Kandi the next day and she's explaining that she's sad about it. And you can see there's like an interview where Kandi says, well, Marlo's nephews and nieces are like her kids because she doesn't have kids. They're very important to her. And Marlo gets upset and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm crying. And Kandi goes over and gives her a hug.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I don't understand why Marlo feels like it's not like she didn't care at all.
Yeah, it was weird because the way they showed clips, initially they showed these clips
Yeah.
or something that made me think Kandi looked bad. And then they played the whole thing and I was like,
And I don't think it looked
I didn't think
bad
it
at
looked
all.
bad at all. And I don't,
And like she
Yeah.
said, she got a text and she was like, oh, I'm sorry.
yeah.
And then the next text, apparently, this is where it gets a little weird. The problem is it gets really convoluted.
yeah.
And I think the issue is you can wish all you want that someone would have responded a way that you wanted or needed.
Mhm.
You can't go back in time and fix that. And you also can't force someone to have emotions that they aren't going to have.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I think Marlo needs to deal with the issue of her nephew's death.
Yeah.
I don't think blaming it on Kandi is going to fix anything. And I don't even think that Kandi going, well, I could have done things differently. Is that really going to fix it for her? I'm not sure that it will.
Yeah. I guess maybe she just probably feels in general that
Yeah.
his death was like maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
Maybe,
think that
maybe
might be
anytime
fair.
a young person
Mhm.
is killed like that, you just feel like,
Yeah. You don't want him to be like another statistic that nobody cares
exactly.
about. And
And
so
it's
I
like-
can see why
and then
she's
people
upset.
forget or something. you know?
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
it's-
I think that is the issue. I just think that blaming it on Kandi, and I can understand where Candy's coming from a little bit, it does make her look bad as a business owner because Marlo isn't really clear about the details. And I think that that's the problem. Like, I feel like Kandi's just more like, you know, come to me and say, like, you didn't handle this right. But instead, it's like she's sort of like, well, these things keep happening at your restaurants.
Yeah.
Because Drew kind of brings it up and calls it like an incident. And everyone's like, well, she's like, I'm from Chicago. We don't say shooting. And everyone's like, well, that's weird. Yeah. Like, nobody thinks that's a thing.
Yeah.
And so I think Marlo's also upset that she sees it as everyone treats Kandi with kid gloves. Do we think that Kandi gets treated with kid gloves by the show, by the other women?
In this situation, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it got brought up exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So it's not like we didn't find out.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
The problem is I think we spend so much time in the past with this argument. Like, everyone goes back to Marlo's past. Like, oh, she cut a girl in the face.
Yeah.
Again, 23 years ago or something like that. And again, Kandi, we're talking about this event that, again, Marlo like claims she doesn't quite realize it affected her until it did. But then if it did, I don't think you bring it up. I mean, first of all, she started out yelling at Drew about it.
Which I was so confused.
Which was really confusing.
I didn't understand.
And then she kind of explains, no, I'm upset at Kandi. And Kandi just always gets a special treatment. And I could see where that might be true. It does seem like everyone's a little more gentle with Kandi. However, she's like the OG of the show. She has all these other show spinoffs on Bravo. And I think all around, she's a pretty genuine person. She's shown her life on the show. I think maybe she's earned it. Like, I think she works so hard that she's earned to not have things besmirched and maybe to be given a little more of the benefit of the doubt. Whereas, like, the new housewives have to kind of earn that. So, like, I'm not sure that she's treated necessarily with kid gloves because they show unfavorable stuff about her.
She's treated with respect.
But that's what I'm saying. Exactly. Much better.
She's like, people respect the
People
Kandi
respect
Burress.
the Kandi and don't respect the Marlo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Marlo, she noticed she was big on flowers. I can't even remember what the other events are, but I was like,
she was so upset that
Marlo sent flowers. Marlo sent flowers. There were like multiple
She
things.
was trying to show that she's a flower sender.
It was like, I was like, man, she's really harping on the flowers.
Her flower budget was blown.
Yeah.
Yeah. It felt like this old argument, at least to us on the show. It felt like this old argument that I'm not sure really had a place in this current season. And the season was kind of confusing enough in that none of the fights seemed real deep.
Yeah.
And so then here's one more thing that also you have to have all this past knowledge to make it relevant. And that made it more confusing too.
Yeah. It was.
I think Marlo needed to just have a real one-on-one with Kandi. Instead, she kept talking about it behind her back to everyone else, getting mad at Drew. She just went about it in a really wrong way. And I understand that sometimes when you're triggered by something, it's not a real straight line to figure out what it is. But when she did, I think they just needed to sit down and talk because they have that huge blow up at Courtney's like escape room night. And that's where everyone is just like screaming and, you know, they're kind of like holding everybody back. And then half the girls are out in the parking lot talking about it and half the girls are inside talking about it. And like, it does have my favorite moment because Courtney was trying to ask Sonia, like, oh, how are the kids? And Sonia's like, I can't even talk about this right now. I'm watching the fight. Like,
I love that Sonia wasn't even pretending to like,
she's like, not now.
I got better things. I got to watch this.
I'm really, really busy. This is important. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not sure that there's really a winner in this, but do you think there's a who wins?
Kandi wins because she really just took the brunt of her grief.
She did. Yeah. I'm just not sure she could have done anything to fix it. I guess she maybe could have apologized more.
She could have sent flowers. That would have been nice. But at the time, you know, maybe none of us would have, or maybe we
And do you think that, like, because when Marlo said this happened to my nephew, I can't remember now if she even pointed out that he used to work at Kandi's restaurant.
I think he said, like, didn't she say something like, didn't he used to work there?
Yeah. And
or
but
something.
I think Kandi
And
looked
she
and
said,
he wasn't on the current roster.
Like,
so she probably
he
just
used
thought,
to. And then she's,
And maybe she should have sent something to Marlo, but I guess her thought was, I don't know the family.
Yeah, I guess would you send it to the funeral home if you don't even know? Maybe to Marlo. Send our card.
And also, like, Marlo was not a full housewife at this time. She was kind of a friend of. I don't know how close they really were.
Yeah.
So I guess, I mean, I just think she didn't think about it. She's busy.
I mean, it would have always been nice and appreciated, of course, but I don't think
exactly. I'm not sure you can demand flowers from someone. It's nice when someone does it.
I think
you can.
Well,
writing that down.
There's some people, like, for example, I would expect you to send me flowers or something. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, I would.
Well, people that are close to you.
Like, well,
sorry.
I didn't really quite understand. We weren't working at the same place.
Yeah. But, like, as far as that level of
I guess
relationship,
that's
what do you call it? Degree of separation? I wouldn't.
Yes. I think you could really be hurt by close people not acknowledging that something important had happened in your life. I'm not sure that you can be hurt by peripheral people. You can be hurt. You have every right to be hurt.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you can hold it over their heads, though.
Yeah. But I think she's just more hurt at everyone.
Exactly.
Because his life was kind of gone in vain and he's so young.
And I also kind of wonder, and she never mentions it, but I wonder if the fact that she's raising her other nephews now, if this is causing that to really sink in. Because all of a sudden she kind of realizes like what it is to be a parent and maybe what the other, parent went through when they lost their child. And like it just hit her a lot harder because now she is a Mont.
A Mont.
Is that what she calls it? Yeah. Monty. Okay. Let's see. Let's go now on to Kandi versus Drew. So we will do a whole Drew episode. This gets kind of convoluted and everything, but
everything is convoluted. There was all these fights where I was like, wait, I kind of know what the fight's about, but I kind of don't.
It was really hard to pull.
And because there were always other people involved.
Yeah. Well, and then it's interesting too, because there were like people where it's like I couldn't find enough within that person to really give. I mean, there were just people who didn't seem to add to or detract from at the event. I don't know. And yeah, you're right. All the issues overlap. So Drew, the big thing that in this, drama of Drew is that Drew calls Kandi a liar. Like, let's just focus on that. So Marlo has her phone out like an hour after production wraps. I always love these like hour after production wraps. Like, and you're like, ooh, something good happened.
That's our favorite thing.
Yeah. So they're reminiscing about nights past. And so they had this like this bachelorette party night. And allegedly Drew made out with this other woman who was on the show at the time, LaToya. So Drew said she didn't make out with her in an interview. Kandi, in the interview, like that we're seeing the past footage, Kandi said that she did. LaToya said that she didn't, but then at the reunion, she said that she did. So it's like a he said, she said. I think that Kenya was on the side of having sort of seen it, but she came down to like get something for her daughter and then go back up. And I don't know. And then Marlo said she's like 80% sure because she was sure, but then Drew was so like convincing that she didn't do it that Marlo was like, maybe I didn't see it. Yeah. So, okay, I don't know, whatever. I guess we're not here to judge whether she did or didn't. Yeah, just kidding. There's some gaslighting. That family has some issues with gaslighting in the Drew family. Yes. So Drew says, well, LaToya told me that Kandi said that she should say that, and that's why she said it. And Candy's like, I saw it. Like, all I'm saying is that I saw it. And then Drew's like, well, you went back later in like I don't know whether it was when they did the reunion online because, we had COVID or whether this was like another show, but she was on like, Zoom. And she kind of said like, okay, I didn't see it. But it didn't seem like she was really, she thinks she saw it.
Yeah.
Do you think she saw it?
I think she thinks she saw it. Yeah. I mean,
I guess maybe they could have just been talking really close.
Yeah. Or, I guess you could kind of miss-see maybe. Yeah. Or maybe they weren't. I
think we can talk about in the Drew episode whether this like relates to her whole relationship with Ralph as to whether the answer is a yes or a no. Like whether it being a no is really important to the divorce or not.
Yeah.
But either way, what we're focused on is the fact that she called Kandi a liar.
I think given the following information, do you think? I don't know. What do you think?
I kind of go back and forth because sometimes when someone's really adamant, I feel bad.
I know, I do too.
I don't want to call someone guilty when they didn't do it.
When someone insists, I just have to believe them. Because I'm like, there's no way they could insist that much if they did it.
But again, it's like Kandi does have the respect in the background, and I've never really seen her lie. So why would she lie about this?
Did she ever?
What does she gain from lying about it?
She's not really anti-Drew.
No.
Or
even LaToya, or even like, there's nothing she can gain from lying about it, I guess. So I don't understand. And the fact that she's so adamantly pissed and didn't just go, well, okay, I guess like if she wasn't sure, I guess she'd just be like, fine, I didn't see it. But she's like so adamant that she did see it. So I love the part where Drew says, well, maybe because they're making the movie The Pass, which is Todd's movie. And it involves like the woman, and her pass is that she gets a night with like another woman. And she's like, well, maybe it's really convenient, she tells Sheree, because Kandi, like wants to kind of promote the show and like get me into the mindset of this character and like get me
into the mindset.
What? Like, that's a long game.
Exactly. It's like, no, she wouldn't want to make you angry, and that's not like.
Yeah. I just like, it's a great theory. It really, really is. Like, it's fun. It's a fun theory.
Drew, you should just be thankful you're in the past.
Exactly. But like, let's not argue about that. Like, I don't know. So Drew gets Toya on the phone, and Toya says that they didn't kiss. They talk at the bedroom candy party, and again, she's like, I didn't do it. I didn't kiss her. I don't know. I guess I reach a point with Kandi where it's like, I think you're just gonna have to say, okay, and let it go. I think she just has to let it go.
Maybe just say, okay, maybe I didn't say it.
I don't think she's lying. I don't know what I think about Drew, but again, it's like I hate Ralph so much that as they like kind of go through their issues, I don't want to give him any ammunition. So I guess I'm also like unwilling to say, well, maybe Drew's wrong. Like I don't know. I feel like nobody's right here.
But does that really mess her up in the divorce if she made out with this?
Yeah. I don't know. I think,
thought states like weren't into that kind of stuff anymore, or is it? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
They
I
are
guess
in
if the
Georgia, maybe.
maybe it's still a fault state or something.
I feel like in Washington, in
I think we're in
California
no
and stuff,
fault
they'd
state.
be like,
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I just can't see. It's like, well, just look at Ralph.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, who cares? Just look at Ralph.
I didn't like at the reunion then when Kandi was like, well, now maybe I understand what Ralph was like. Maybe you're the gaslighter to Ralph. And I was like, okay, this is too far. Like, again, this is too far over such a small thing. Also, when I thought about this when I was like driving over, why does Drew want to make Kandi mad with all of her music connections? Like, Drew wants to go into music. Why are you pissing off Kandi right now? She both has acting connections, which she does, and music. Let it. They both need to just let it go. Yeah. It is not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I would think she needs Kandi more than Kandi needs her.
I think so too. So I don't understand why she's calling Kandi a liar. And she's got other issues. I just feel like maybe let this one go.
Well, then maybe she is being honest.
Maybe
she is,
and that's why she's so mad. Yeah. Because I guess, I don't know. But then I feel like you'd be madder when it's a lie. But then again, is this that bad of a lie?
I don't know. It's
she
like
kissed a girl and she liked it. Who cares?
I kissed.
Katy Perry did too.
Exactly. It could have been a non-event.
Yes.
She could have just been like, yeah or no, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I don't know who wins. I really can't decide. I kind of know I wish I'd decided in advance because I don't know that I have an answer for who wins.
I think Kandi wins just because I feel like Kandi, for some reason, seems more credible.
She does. She has more credibility, for sure.
Yeah. And it's not that Drew doesn't seem not credible.
No. And I don't think it's fair when they keep saying, like, oh, she's an actor.
Yeah.
You know, like Kandi even apologized to him.
Yeah.
In
Kandi
Portugal
wants
when
an
she said,
oh, I guess maybe for music stuff.
Right.
But I was like, maybe the Oscars not for acting. But still, I mean.
Production or something. Yeah. I just, you're right. I just think that in the past, like, Kandi is more believable. And also, I just don't understand. I don't know. It's a really dumb fight.
It is.
Especially in like this day and age too. Like, I don't know. No one said you cheated. It's a kiss. You and Ralph were falling apart anyway. Who cares?
Did Ralph even really care about that?
I don't think so. He seemed all happy about the movie when they were making it. He was all up in that. So I don't think so. Yeah. Well, that is our Kandi episode. Again, nothing real deep in a lot of the fights this season.
Yeah, it's like I enjoyed it, but there just wasn't much to say.
Yeah, so it's like I would like to see a reshuffling of the Atlanta cast.
Definitely.
I'm going to say that. All right, well, so for our future business, we're going to wrap up with our Atlanta episodes. We're going to gear up for OC and New York and Salt Lake City. Those are all coming up down the pipeline. So let us know your thoughts on that and like who and what we should cover, because sometimes we go back and forth on who really deserves an episode and who doesn't. So if you have really strong feelings about that, get on our Instagram or Twitter and let us know. All right. Remember, housewives bring the drama,
but we bring the receipts. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to help support us, please share it with others and leave a rating and review. Also, visit us on Instagram and Twitter, both at RH_on_RH for fun pictures and polls, or email us at RHonRH podcast@gmail.com. Thanks again, and remember to stay out of the shade.